Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing a very personal topic which I really wanted to open up for a very long time. So I received really amazing, heart-touching comments on the recent video where I talked about, lessons that I learned in my life, and a lot of you were, able to relate to it really well, and you guys asked me to do more videos of that. So thank you so much. And very similar kind of such things is in my life personally, what I wanted to really talk about and open up is like my journey when I moved to a new country right after I got married. So that journey was like was not that easier for me. So I was like, okay, let me sit down and talk about this and let you know what exactly the process and the entire journey was. So yeah, if you're new here, hi, my name is Vinisha. Thank you so much for tuning in, and please don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And my name is Vinisha. I live in Melbourne, Australia, and I'm from India. And if you're here for the first time, hi, and thank you so much for stopping by. And let's begin the video. Now, moving to a new country on the whole itself is like a huge process, right? Like, I'm not going to be technically talking about visa process and all that. I'm just going to be like telling you like in short like what happened and how I moved here. So I got married in like 2021 in February, and when I got married I had no clue that I'm moving to a foreign country. So I was like just expecting my life to be in Chennai, but suddenly like everything just changed. Like in a week time, like my entire life kind of changed. My husband wanted to move to Australia, so he was in Australia before, so we just decided like that we are going to be moving there. So yeah, I was not very sure because I haven't stayed that far from my parents. So when I was studying, I just went to Bangalore. So it's like one night journey. If I have to meet my parents, I just have to be in like some distance where I'm very near to my parents. So that's how I was comfortable throughout my life. But moving to a different country in like such like huge distance, and that too the time when I moved, it was like the peak of second variant of COVID. So it was like insane. The restrictions were like really hard, and I knew that once I go it will be like really difficult for me to come back. Like I can't just come back anytime I want to. So I had all those anxiety. I was not very sure what I was going to do and all that. And most importantly, the thing was like it was just 2 months since I just got married to my husband, so I didn't even know him that well. So it was quite a difficult journey, after that to like come adapt to a new country and even like settling our marriage, like because we were not anyway very used to living together and all that, right? So anyway, talking to a person and then living with them is actually like completely two different things, and it's not easy. So yeah, so that was my thing. So in case if you're someone who's like coming here for education or your higher studies or anything like that, it might be like really different because you might have like friends, contacts, something or the other which you are you'll be able to relate to, right? But in my case it was like completely different. The only person I am going to 100% rely on was my husband. So yeah, it was kind of like very tricky and like not very sure kind of moment for me that time when I initially moved. So yeah, when I moved here, it was like a second phase of COVID, and it was like peak. Everywhere it was like a lockdown, and 6 months was like completely shut. So yeah, we were in quarantine for 2 weeks, and then we moved here. So all the things that now I'm going to be sharing are something very relatable for anyone who has gone through this. So if you are in like States or UK, Canada, wherever you have like settled, you will be able to relate to this like very easily. So yeah, the first most important thing that affected me so much was I just felt so dumb because I was not able to understand the accent or the English they spoke here. So I never had like any issues or inferiority complex or anything about my language, because I was always comfortable with the way I speak, even though I don't like use very complicated words or anything like this. I was never a person who had like underestimated that I will not be able to speak or anything like that. I was very comfortable with the way how I speak and all that, but the accent here was so strong I wasn't even able to understand a single word. So my confidence was just shattered there. And even like talking to like the salesperson in the store, or someone in the billing counter, I hesitated so much. So that eventually made me completely depend on my husband for even the smallest of the things. So every small thing, like, so talking to someone, or everything, I want him there. So that was like the kind of what do you call, like, clingy attachment that I had initially, which was not very smooth, I would say, because I would want him everywhere. Like, if he steps out of the house, I used to be like really scared. Like, what if someone asks me something? What if I have to like go and talk to someone, and I won't be able to. So that was like the instant thought that would come in my mind, and I was anxious, like really really anxious, to be honest. So yeah, this is like the first phase, which was so difficult. So the language barrier will eventually become okay, because the more and more you listen to the words and the way they speak and everything, you start understanding. But initially, for 1 full year, I struggled. Like, trust me, I struggled so much. I couldn't understand even a single word that they spoke here. Now the next thing what I honestly felt was, I felt lonely. Like, the loneliness was like real, because I didn't know anyone around here. It was so lonely for me to like even like feel by myself. Like, I was at home where my parents were always there, like, and there was always guests coming and going all the time, and we always had people around me, and I had my cousins and everyone living around. So it was always like a place where I constantly had someone or the other coming by and going. And here it was locked down, nobody was allowed to meet anyone there, and it was like silent, and it was sad and lonely, and to be honest, quite depressing as well. So the initial 6 months was such a struggle, and making new friends is not that easy here, like, very honestly, unless you are someone who is like working. But I'm not working so far, so it was very difficult for me to like find friends, or gel with them, or anything like that. So yeah, it was such a big struggle, to be honest. Now, another thing that I felt was kind of weird was, I had like way too much freedom. Like, no, like way too much freedom to do whatever I want, and nobody would ask anything kind of atmosphere, which kind of made me like sad. It kind of made me feel like nobody really cares about what I do, because obviously my husband, he has to do his work and everything, right? But I was allowed to do whatever I want, and nobody was there to like question me. Whereas I was in a household where even the smallest things, I have my mom and dad and my brother bugging me all the time, but it was like very quiet and calm, and I don't know how to explain it exactly, but I would say like a feeling where you just feel like nobody really cares about you, and you don't really exist in the world. That kind of feeling you just start getting initially, because yeah, you're in like a place where you're like, I just felt like I'm no one in this place. Like, initially that's how the feeling was when I moved here. And another disastrous thing would be like adjusting to climate. Like, we are so much used to like very hot humid climate back in India. So I'm from Nagarkoil, and it is really really hot and humid there, and even Chennai is. So compared to like the climate here, it's the extreme opposite here. It's like cold, and it's like not that humid here. So what happened was, my skin started to react so bad, and I had to use the room heaters, and the humidity was less, and that eventually gave me so many skin problems, like pigmentation, oxidization, and my skin being tight, rashes. And if I go out in the cold climate and come back, I just get like red rashes all over my body. So weather extreme conditions are not something to be taken for granted. It is real, okay? And the in India we don't have a lot of skin issues because of the climate and the temperature there. But if you are someone who's like prone to very extreme climates, and the exposure of extreme climates hits you, like, trust me, there's like so much more, like so many skin conditions which normally we wouldn't have even heard of. So yeah, that kind of hit me very seriously, and I had to like change everything in my skincare journey, and it was not easy. Trust me, it took me like 1 year or even more than a year to figure out what I was doing for skin, my hair. Everything was like completely different. I had to change the diet, skin, and everything. And what works for you will not work when you have like extreme temperatures, like how like this country has. Now, next important thing I would say is like handling a house is not the same as how you used to do in our hometown, right? Like it's a bit different here. Like things work differently in a different country. So even the smallest things I was not sure, like what works, what doesn't work. So even like if you have to like ask for the basic of things which you don't even have considered it before, and you still have to like ask someone, or get to know what is this used for, what is that used for, like it breaks your confidence. To be honest, it breaks your confidence even in the lowest level. So the only thing I would say for anyone who's like watching this and being able to relate to, or anyone who's preparing yourself to go to a new country, is like just take the time. Like initially you will feel overwhelmed with all the things that is happening around you. You'll not even understand like where we are right now, what's happening around and all that, but eventually it will get better. You are going to absorb everything slowly with time. But yeah, initially I know you are going to freak out a little bit, and it's common and it happens to everyone, so don't worry about it. Another thing that will actually break you from inside is the time difference. Like you won't be able to stay in touch with your loved ones that easily when you stay in a place where the time difference is completely off your hometown. So that kind of makes you get those anxiety and that lonely feeling which you develop when you move into a new country. The time difference is something that really matters, because when you want to talk to your loved ones, they might be sleeping or they might be working, and it's not easy to like find that time to like talk to your loved ones and stay in touch. So that literally shakes you from inside initially when you move to a new country, which is something even I faced, and it was like really, really hard. Trust me, like friends, family, it was not easy. Like it was not easy at all. And initially for some period of time, trust me, I wanted to go back. Like I did not want to stay here. I really wanted to go back home, and I was never able to picture this house as home. So I've never felt that feeling that I belong here, or this is where my future lies. Even picturing that or thinking about it gave me like so much anxiety. So yeah, that was like something which I couldn't get over for a very, very long time. Now I'm kind of settling in and absorbing a lot, but initially it was not easy. I did not feel like home at all. Like till like 7 or 8 months, I never like accepted the fact that this is home. Home for always was for me back in India, and never this country or this place. Yeah, I think many of you would have also gone through, like a lot of you told me this in Instagram that you also felt the same way. So I thought I'd like to come here and share with you as well here. Do let me know what all struggles you went through when you moved to a country. Share this video with someone who's actually moving to a new country very soon, because moving for education is different, and getting married and then moving to a new country is completely different, right? So yeah, and the last thing which I really feel is very important when you're like moving to a new country is you have to be a lot independent. Like you have to know how to drive, like not like depend on someone. So I'm a person who is like brought up like always being very dependent on my brother or my dad constantly throughout my life. And here it was like very difficult initially. Like I wasn't able to like depend like that with my husband, because obviously, right, he has his own responsibilities. Even though I understood that, it was very difficult for me to like how do you say that, like process that and take that first step, like do things on my own. So yeah, but life is still a learning, right? Like I compared if I have to compare me in like 2021 to the person who now I am in 2023, even I can't believe like how much I have like changed and improved myself in a lot of different things. But if you are someone who is like going through something like that, or if you are like freshly moved to a new country, this is the only thing I would say is like, please be calm. Things will definitely get better. Like initially it's not, I understand. It took me like 1 year or more than a year for me to like get to this place and at least accept the fact that I have moved here and this is my life. It literally took 1 year. I had gone to therapy in between, like way too much anxiety, no confidence, all that thing was there. and it was quite overwhelming because I was like figuring out how my marriage is, and as well as like, you know, even the basics of, you know, living in a new country, right? So it was definitely not easy, and it's okay, but it'll take time. And once you get into that comfortable zone, you will eventually learn everything, and it's not how as hard as it initially was. Things will definitely get better. That's what I was, you know, trying to say. So yeah, those are all the things which I really wanted to tell you guys. Please do let me know if you have some similar experiences, and if you would like to share them, please do tell them in the comments below, and let's all read that and see what are different challenges we had as an individual. So yeah, thank you so much for watching till the end. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys very soon in my next video. Bye bye, take care.